Welcome to Worthwhile Watches. I'm Rob. This year, San Martin has been raising the bar, kicking it up a notch, paving a new path, however you want to say it. San Martin has been spicing things up in the affordable watch market, and possibly redefining the concept of value for money. They've introduced some impressive new models and variations, including new GMT and three-hand models in several different colors and dial patterns. One of their most popular models is the SN0129. I have the aventurine dial GMT version, but as soon as I saw this red three-hand version, I had to order it too. And that's what we're looking at today. One of my favorite San Martin releases of the year, the Red Desert Texture Dial SN0129. This watch came in the green zip-up case that San Martin has been using lately for its premium watches. Also included is a user manual and 2-year warranty card, along with some adjustment tools. This case does a good job of protecting the watch in transit and would make a good travel case too. First of all, I want to talk about just how nice the case finishing is on this watch. The top, sides, and bottom of the case are brushed, along with the top and sides of the bezel, which is radially brushed on top, causing interesting reflections and light play from all angles. The case measures slightly over 39 millimeters, with a lug-to-lug of just over 46 millimeters. The end links drop straight down, which should help accommodate those with smaller wrists. The 13.1 millimeter thickness is a little on the tubby side. This is partly due to the height of the crystal, which protrudes a bit above the bezel, but is also likely due to the NH35 movement. That case thickness is one of the only things that keeps this watch from absolute legendary status in my opinion, and is something that San Martin is improving with other recent models, such as the SN0144 I recently reviewed. The top and bottom edges of the case and bezel are polished, including a larger area of polish on the crown guard. This combination of fine brushing and polishing give the case a somewhat dressy appearance without being blingy or overdone. The case brushing perfectly matches the bracelet brushing, and the case-to-bracelet fit is rock solid with extremely tight tolerances. The case and bracelet finishing on this watch are impressive, and for the price, quite astounding. The bracelet is 20 millimeters at the lugs, tapering to just under 16 millimeters at the clasp. The clasp is an all-milled double push-button type with a toolless micro-adjust system, which is always appreciated. This clasp is all brushed with a polished bevel along each side and features a San Martin hexagon logo. The bracelet is sized with screw pins, and sizing was fast and easy. The bracelet links have very little play but articulate freely with no sticky or squeaky links. Everything is smoothly finished with no sharp or rough edges. I'd say this bracelet is as solid and comfortable as just about anything in my collection. It's very impressive, comfortable to wear, and balances the watch nicely on the wrist. The only small improvement I could ask for is quick-release spring bars. The screw-down caseback is sterile with radial brushing. It's nicely done, and the case will allow for a 100-meter water resistance rating. The signed crown measures about 6.5 millimeters and is quite easy to grip thanks to the large cutout areas on the top and bottom of the crown guard. Crown threading along with date and time setting are solid and smooth on my particular example. The slightly domed sapphire crystal is nice and clear with almost no distortion. The AR coating does have a blue tint. I usually really dislike blue tinted AR coatings, but in this case I actually like it. The hint of blue around the edges and in reflections somehow works with the red dial. The occasional glint of cool blue contrasts and complements the warm red dial, and somehow adds to the already plentiful visual interest the dial provides. This watch has been part of my regular rotation for over 6 months now, and I still find myself admiring the dial every time. The rich red desert dunes fading to black along the edge evoke images of a faraway exotic desert. Heat waves emanating from the scorching dunes. Flashes of blue appear along the edge of the crystal, then vanish. Is it the cool blue waters of an oasis? Or a mirage? Or perhaps it will evoke visions of a Martian sunset, millions of miles away from earthly concerns. Red desert surrounds your spacecraft. Faint blue light glints off the metallic frame. Red fades to black as the unfamiliar, distant sun drops below the horizon. It's easy for me to get lost in this dial's color and texture, but the hands and indices are equally impressive. The faceted lume-filled indices are clean and precise, offering good legibility. The lumed hands are simple, crisply cut, and well-proportioned. The second hand has a quite long counterweight and a red tip, but it is not lumed. A 3 o'clock framed date window replaces the index at 3 o'clock and is nicely incorporated into the dial. The white date wheel balances the opposing 9 o'clock index quite well. The hexagonal San Martin logo just under 12 o'clock is nicely sized, and the 2 lines of text above the 6 o'clock position are cleanly printed and tastefully incorporated into the overall well-balanced and proportioned dial. This is one of my favorite dials in my collection at the moment. The visual interest of the wave pattern, the way the shadows change with the light, the richness of the red, overall the tasteful combination of brushed and polished surfaces of the case and bracelet, along with the rich textured dial, all come together to create a solid and visually satisfying wearing experience that leaves little to be desired. I'm a fan of the NH35 movement, and I think it's a great, reliable choice that helps keep the cost down for inexpensive watches. It's a 21,600 vibration per hour movement, so it ticks 6 times per second. It has hacking, hand winding, and a 41-hour power reserve. Mine was running consistently about 10 seconds per day slow, but one good thing about the NH35 is it's pretty easy to regulate if you have a time grapher and a steady hand. So I regulated this watch myself, and now it usually gains only about 1 to 3 seconds per day on the wrist, which I'm very pleased with. The hands and indices are filled with BGW X1 Lume, so let's see how it performs in a 20-minute Lume test. As expected, the Lume is good, but it isn't going to perform like a dive watch. Everything is glowing evenly and clearly visible after 20 minutes. It performs very well for this style of watch. I know I've been praising this watch a lot in this review, and I know it might sound a bit hyperbolic, but on the wrist, this watch is as solidly built and appears as well finished as several watches in my own collection from well-known brands that charge considerably more than the price of this watch. But don't get me wrong, I'm not claiming that this watch is flawless under high magnification or that it's absolutely perfect in every way. Though I've been wearing this one regularly for over a 6-month period, and with quite a bit of actual time on the wrist, evaluating it against the rest of my collection, my opinion of this watch is that it's really good and leaves me with very little to complain about. So little that really my only problems with it are the case could be a bit thinner, it could have quick-release spring bars, and it could have used a better movement. It's weird to say because this is a budget watch, but I think it's actually too good for the NH35. I'm not saying that the NH35 is a bad movement at all, but at 5.3 millimeters thick, it can lead to watches being a bit chunkier than they could otherwise be. The recent San Martin SN0144 shows us what's possible when a slimmer movement is used. That watch uses a Miyota 9015, which is only 3.9 millimeters thick, allowing the SN0144 to wear nice and thin, like a true luxury watch. I'd really like to see a redesigned SN0129 with a Miyota 9015 and a slimmer case. That just might elevate this watch to true legendary status. Even as it is, this watch is an absolute joy to wear and has honestly become one of my favorite watches in my collection. With San Martin continuing to develop their own designs and continuing to raise the bar in quality, I can't wait to see what they come up with next. Until then, I'll continue to wear this one regularly with pride. But what do you think? Am I exaggerating? Or has San Martin really been stepping it up lately? Let me know. Thanks as always for watching. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and no matter what you have on your wrist, San Martin or otherwise, make your day worthwhile.